Just wanted to try this again with the plate to see. We had been getting little flames out of there until I put the pot on, and then it grew drastically. So I wanted to try that again without holding my light underneath of it this time. I had to clean that up, and I'm sure Jarrett was probably like, "Why are you burning my beautiful stove?" So, still think we need to let it burn for a second. Get the pot on the stove base a little on the hot side. We'll try it with and without one time to see. I had let it cool for a while there between videos. So I think this helps prime the stove. Then once the fuel starts to bubble just a little bit, drop the ring in there. Well, that's not the easiest thing to do, so maybe we'll have to try and figure out a way to do that without that. See if that doesn't light. Maybe if I spray a little fuel on there and then light it, and then it lights but it doesn't really stay lit. Now, yeah, it doesn't really stay lit, so let me throw a little more fuel on top of there. That's a lot of fuel on top of there. In fact, most of that will actually just run down. But I wonder what would happen if we put the pot on there right as we start. We got little flames and they went out. So I've got to come up with a way to preheat this. Preheat this when there's nothing causing it to stay hot. Now, I told you last time I held my light underneath here, and that worked a little bit, but there's something we got to be able to do. And just putting that on there lets it burn, but I just don't think it's enough to... There I go, pulled my pen out again, and I didn't put it back in all the way. Let's see if it's enough to keep it going. Now, I don't think it now. Yeah, not really. It's going, but not enough to do anything. So we've got to come up with some method. Make sure it's all the way out. We've got to come up with some method to make that burn and turn into a jet. And it's already hot. Turn into a jet without having to have a piece of felt underneath of it with fuel. Something I hadn't thought of was, what if we put a little piece of felt on top? Maybe not one of the full circles, because then you defeat the purpose by covering up your jets, but what if you put a piece of felt on top of there instead of down below, like we had been doing the last time I videotaped it? Just a small piece. Let's see if I have any small pieces of felt around here. I think I do somewhere. Not really. I have some bigger pieces. Here's a little torn up piece I kind of can use. It's kind of big actually, it's not real small. Let's see if I can tear it down a little bit and make it a little smaller. I use this in some of my smaller stoves on the insides and stuff. There we go. Nice half piece. This is some of the stuff I use for my other... There's got to be a way to tear this. No, there's not. Okay, so how about we get out the scissors and cut it. Let's try getting that other piece there that I had. Let's just cut ourselves a little patch. Not much bigger than that. Lay that in the center of the stove, just so we can see what happens. That way when we shoot that liquid on top there, a lot of it goes down inside. Drips through the holes. We light it. Put the pot on immediately. I forgot to tighten it again. I got to tighten that. And let's let it burn like that for a moment. Now in the past those outside flames were dying down, but maybe with that carbon felt on top there, just a little bit of it, it will be enough to heat the pot and enough to keep those flames just barely lit until it gets hot enough to light itself. It looks like it's doing just that. It's holding everything lit currently. Just put my bag of extra felt back, and it looks like it's actually getting good jets. So maybe that will be the answer, just dropping a little piece of felt on top of there. Not inside of it, but on top of it. That causes those jets to stay lit, and I don't think that where I have it placed I'm actually covering any of the jets. We don't have a huge flame yet, but the pot's not real hot yet either. Once that pot starts getting heat, it should transfer down to the bottom, causing the fuel to boil like it did last time. Excuse me, we'll see how that goes. It looks like it's already starting to grow a little bit. Not a big flame, but a small flame, still enough to boil with if we need it to. But not the jets we were getting last time. Sorry, just messing with the camera so I can see everything in the camera view. Yeah, at this point last time it really started to grow because what happened was these pipes, the threaded pipes going up and down, and just like I thought, here we go. Those threaded pipes get the heat from the pot, transfer it to the bottom, and what do you know? There's the jets that we were used to last time. So maybe that's the answer, just a smaller disc. This is obviously way too big, but a small, now there's a boil, see? That water was already hot. That was some hot water I had set on top there. So we need to test that theory again with not so hot water, with fresh cold water, and see if that cold water doesn't kill it. So that was water that was hot. Theory is right that once the flames start hitting these bars, the heat transfers down to the bottom of the stove, causing all the fuel in here, in this area here, to start to boil. Much higher pressure, causing this to have a real decent flame pattern. Real nice flame pattern. And I tend to lay this down just because I don't want that touching that pot, or it's really hot right there, so I lay it down. Yeah, that's the pattern we need. So now we need to just go ahead and put it out. We got a full boil already. This water was a little bit on the steamy side when I put it on anyway. Now we need to put it out. And so you can see what I was talking about, that little piece in there. I laid a little piece of felt in there. And that was enough to keep the contents burning, enough to get it hot, and enough to cause the poles to get hot. Now that piece of felt, I'm sure, is already out of fuel. It's dry as a bone. But because it was sitting in the middle there, it did its job. So I think we could cut a little circular piece out, just set it in there, and be ready.